I'm learning our Black Gemara. Today, Sunday's Daf is Daf Samar Gimel. We are up to the Mishnah. And just quickly, the word Zachrusa that we learned yesterday's Gemara, we're giving the measurement of the ramp and the ratio of the ascent. Is Zachrusa, there are different kinds of fingers. Zachrusa means the thumb. So four thumbs in the tefach. So it's a quarter of a tefach. Versus if it's the index finger, then it's only a fifth of a tefach. Or if it's the pinky, it's a sixth of a tefach. So we're up to the Mishnah. We're going through the different kabbanas and where they should be yeshachn and so on. Says the Mishnah. What about when it comes to menachos? When it comes to a karb mincha, and by a mincha, the process is we do kmitza, which we take off a section. The kohen uses three fingers. We'll learn homosech on it, and that's taken to the mizbeach, is burnt on the mizbeach, and the kmitza is like shchita in a way. And the rest is eaten by the kohen. Says the Mishnah, that it's not only on the north side, it could be done anywhere in Azara, like kochim kalim. The necholas, on the other hand, the mincha is not treated like kochim kalim when it comes to being consumed, because the necholas lifnim in akloim. Kochim kalim, like a shlomim, can be eaten at tayir shemaim, but a karb mincha has to be eaten inside the Beis Hamikdash, inside the curtains, which is referring to the midbar, and only zichri kohuna. Again, not like kochim kalim, it's more like kochim. Only male kohenim b'chol ma'achol, they can prepare it any way they want. The yayim v'layla, by day and by night, like a karban taida, is ad chatzais, like the bread of a taida, ad chatzais, and the chacham were more particular. You should finish it by midnight. Says the Gemara, Amar Rabbi comes along and says a chiddush that a mincha shenikmetzes, that a mincha that you did the kmitza behechel, if you did the actual kmitza inside the Beis Hamikdash. Till now we were discussing whether you do it only in Tzafin or the entire Azora. Here we're saying that inside the Beis, and we learned before about doing it on top of the Mizbeach, the Karbanova. Here now we're saying here is that inside the Beis Hamikdash you could do the kmitza, and it's kosher. Well, how do we know that? We find that the lechem hapanim, the 12 loaves of bread they had, they would put their olavina, which is known as an askara, like a memorial, and they would take that away, and that would be mate the lechem hapanim. And you take it out of the lechem hapanim. And where did you take it out? Inside the heichel. So there's a precedence for doing something like kmitza inside the heichel. Most of it. So you're saying that you can do it inside the Beis Hamikdash. So most of it, Rabbi Yehuda, the question says in Pasuk that they should take the mincha, the komatz misham, the kohen should do kmitza. What do you mean misham from there? So we dashin mimokum sheragle hazor aimless. The Yisrael brings it, and from there he takes the kmitza, as if to say, where does the kmitza take place? Only where Yisrael may be. A Yisrael cannot be inside the heichel. It cannot even be between the Beis Hamikdash and the Mizbeach. That whole section there, you cannot be. So it seems that you cannot do kmitza inside the Beis Hamikdash. So there's a question. And while we're talking that question, the Brisa continues, which is not really relevant to our Gemara, but we're bringing the entire Brisa. B'Seda says, Menayin, how do you know, from the very same pasuk, how do you know we learn now, Shim Kamatz of Ismail, you cannot do any avodas in the Beis Hamikdash with the left hand. If you did, it doesn't disqualify you, just place it right back into your right hand. Tamalema, because it says Misham. No, put it back there, Mimakum Shekamatz Kvar, we did the Kmitza, and start again. So how are we going to resolve this? You said you can do kmitza Beis Hamikdash. It says that only where you received it from the Yisrael. Answering Malika Damadi, who Moisiv Lo Mufarak, one opinion says it Rabbi Yirmiyah himself, who answered his own question. Rabbi Yaakov said to Rabbi Yirmiyah, could be Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Yirmiyah is an Amoida. So Rabbi Yaakov said to Rabbi Yirmiyah, Bar Tachlifa, you start Tachlifa. Let me explain to you. When we say that you can do it, when it says in the pasuk that you should pick it up, Meragli Hazor, Kola Hazor Kula, it's coming to say to you that you don't have to do it on the north side. You can do it anywhere in the Azara. Wherever Yisrael goes, you can do it. But it doesn't mean that you only have to do it in other words, it's not coming to tell you that you should not do it in the Beis Hamikdash. It's coming to teach you, don't think like other kabbanas that can only be on the north side. I want you to know that it could be either on the north side or it could be anywhere else in the Zara. Now, why would you think it can only be on the north side? Says the Gemara. It's coming to be machshir in the entire Hazara. Because how come I would have thought? Hoyil ba'oile kodesh kedoshim, the carbon oile which is kodesh kedoshim, and the mincha is kodesh kedoshim, mincha is kodesh kedoshim. Ma oile to unetzafim. We learned before that kodesh can only be done on the other side. I would have thought mincha to unetzafim. Mincha also requires on the other side. So the Pasuk says, no, wherever you took it from Yisrael is good enough, but it's not coming to negate using the Beis Hamikdash itself. So you might ask a question. You would have thought that you have to only do the north side, and therefore we need a pasuk to tell you can do it anywhere where the Zohar can go, and anywhere in the Zohar. Why would you think only the north side? Because you tell me because Kodesh Kodashim, but it's so different. It's a chumrah shekain kol the entire thing is burnt on the mizbeach. That's why the north side. Says I want to learn from Chatas. Chatas Kodesh Kodashim is also the north side, and it doesn't get burnt on the mizbeach totally. Oh, but Chatas can chapez chayav krisis. Chatas has a chumrah that it can forgive you for chayav krisis. But Asham, so you're right. Let's learn from Asham. Asham does not have that ability to remove the Isser of Karis, and yet has to be done in the north. So wait, it's primarily blood. Blood is really the kapara. You don't have that by mincha. Who said you? Why would you even think that you have to have the north? Mikulu, let's do the common denominator of all three. That kachim require the north. No, but malakulish came in damim. All three of them have to do with blood. So what's trying the pasuk? How can you tell me that Rabbi Elazar says that you can eat a mincha in the Beis Hamikdash when it says in the pasuk we komatz misham and we say misham v'l'chayda we azar brought it to you and not in the Beis Hamikdash. So no. So Ella eats. You know what the pasuk is coming to tell you. The pasuk is coming to tell you as follows. Salke dat. I would have thought hoyil v'ksiv. Since it says in the pasuk you should bring the mincha, and before you do the kmitza, you have to first do gisha. You have to bring it towards the mizbeach and approach the mizbeach. And when you do the hagosha, you do the hagosha on the southwestern corner. If you remember, you walk inside to the Beis Hamikdash, you're coming from the east side. The other side of the Beis Hamikdash itself is on the west side. Your right is the north, and the left is the south. So the southwest corner is that corner of the mizbeach, which is facing the Beis Hamikdash and on the left side. So you have to do hagosha on the keren maravis dremis before you do the kmitza. So I would have thought ma hagosha bekeren maravis dremis, just like you have to bring the hagosha on the southwest corner. I would have thought af kmitza bekeren maravis dremis. I would have thought, well, you should do the kmitza there as well. And we'll soon see why you need the southwest corner for the hagosha. Kamash Malon, that no, anywhere in the Beis Hamikdash, but not coming to cancel or negate using the Beis Hamikdash itself to do the malika, to do the kmitza. What about? Okay, till now we were talking about the kmitza of the mincha. He says further, what about korban shlomim? Sheshachtan behechel, a korban shlomim shechted inside the Beis Hamikdash. Before we learned the shlomim can be done anywhere in the courtyard, but we never spoke about the Beis Hamikdash. So what about you doing inside the Beis Hamikdash? Kshedim is kosher for a different reason altogether. Kmitza, you say that it's kosher because you learn from the lechem haponim. But why would a shlomim be kosher in the Beis Hamikdash? You know why? Because the pasuk says, where should you shech the korban shlomim? It says that shchata you should shechted Pesach, the opening of oil moed. So if the opening the oil moed is kosher to shech, then surely inside the oil moed itself should be kosher. Because you have a rule, below you hate tofu chamanika. How can something which would be secondary be more powerful than the principal, than the primary? Can't be. So therefore, definitely you can shech this in the Beis Hamikdash itself. Says the Gemara, makes a question. How do you know? She be keep away with the going circled surrounding the entire courtyard. The kohen have a right to enter the Beis Hamikdash. They eat the kacha. So you have a special pasuk. It says in the pasuk that you should eat it inside the kodesh hakadoshim. In other words, in the Beis Hamikdash. Had it not been for that pasuk, you would not be able to eat. Now, why not? If you can eat in the courtyard, surely you can eat the Beis Hamikdash. Use the same logic. A tuffle cannot supersede the ikka, the primary. Use your logic. Name of Bechatzar El Moyed. It says a Pasi Bechatzar El Moyed. You should eat in the courtyard of the El Moyed. How can it be in the courtyard is good enough when the whole courtyard is associated with the Beis Hamikdash? Then the Beis Hamikdash surely should be good enough. Says the Gemara, what are you comparing? Hasam over there, we're talking about doing service for the Eibush, and doing the service in the Heichel from Hashem is even more chashiv. So therefore, it makes sense. We allow you to do that. The other way, a person does work in front of it, shows a servitude before his master. We say, so therefore, we say that, you know what, use that logic. If it's good enough where the master is, and sure it's good enough where the master is. Now, we don't mean the master isn't, but outside the Beis Hamikdash. When it comes to eating, it's not appropriate that a person should eat where his Rebbe is. No, it's not appropriate to eat inside the Beis Hamikdash. So the svara that what if you could do it outside, you do it inside doesn't apply. Okay, next we continue. We'll continue working our way through all the kabbalas. The next carbon is the chatas ha'if. Now we said on the outside Beis Hamikdash, the carbon chatas is above the red line and the carbon oil is below the red line, the squirting of the blood. But when it comes to the birds, it's all the way around. The chatas ha'if is below the red line and the oil ha'if is above the line. So chatas ha'oiv, this chatas ha'oiv, hoisanasi, is where did the chatas ha'oiv, they would go there and they would take the bird different than, they don't take a bird, they don't take the blood and put it on the finger, they don't put it in the keli to go over it with he does a malika, which is using a thumbnail, breaks on the back of the neck, and then he turns around and he squirts some of the blood out, and then he brings the rest, it's called mitzi, and squeezes it against the wall of the mizbech. So chatas ha'oiv, hoisanasi, is al keren deremis maravis. Where do they do it? On the southwestern corner. They did it on the southwestern corner. And then it says, Ubechol mokum haisik sheda. The truth of the matter is, you can do whatever you want. We'll see in the Gemara what that means. But nevertheless, it's appropriate to do it in the southwestern corner, which is again facing the Beis Hamikdash on the left side. When you are facing Beis Hamikdash, it will be your left side. That southwestern corner served three purposes below the red line, and three purposes above the red line. Milmata, what was below the red line? What was Milmata? What the Chata was done below the red line. The Hagoshes and bringing the mincha to the Mizbeach, which we said before is the Hagosh you have to approach and bring it to the Mizbeach before you actually did the Kmitza. Is also done in that corner, southwestern corner. And Shiyari Hadam, the leftover blood from a carbon chatas. He did an animal chatas outside. What do you do leftover blood? You put it down on the southwestern corner. When you came out, what do you call it? That's Mulmat. Umil Mylon, what did they do above the red line in that corner, the southwestern corner? Nisu Chayayin Bahamayim on Sukkot when they poured the water, throughout the year when they poured the wine, and there they had these chutes, like these silver goblets had these chutes, and they would pour down through these chutes, and so these are on top of the Bech. And the third thing is the oil of a bird is done above the red line. But why the southwestern corner? Really, a bird, by a bird, where should you, the oilers bird, not the chatas. The chatas, we said the appropriate place is the southwest corner, but the oilers, the appropriate place is the southeast corner. That means as soon as you woke up, make a left, that's the south, and that's the east side. If it's crowded and you can't get there, then you can go to the southwestern corner, because that's the closest place. And the reason why they did that in the southeastern corner is because that's the Mokkah Madeshan. You can go straight down, and there would be the pile of the ashes and everything else would be right there. The closest place to that would be the other corner of the southwestern corner. So if you couldn't do it in the southeastern, you went to the southwestern. If it was too crowded, they would go there. We read this a few days ago. When you go on the Mizbeach, you're walking up the ramp, you're facing the Mizbeach, you make a right turn, that would be your southeast corner, and then as you're facing Mizbeach, you're making a right turn again. Don't face away from the Mizbeach, facing Mizbeach, you're constantly making a right turn, and you're walking along the eastern side to get to the northern corner, and then you make a right turn again, and you're walking along the northern side to get to the western corner, then you make a right turn again, you're walking along the west to get to the other side. You always go towards facing the right. Umakifin the Yarden and Umakifin the Yarden. There's more, but when you what do you call it? And you're doing your avodah, so you're doing all your chat, everything else. When you go down, if you're facing the mizbeach, it's as if you're going down to the left. What do you mean? Because if you were going up the ramp, it would be on your left side that if somebody's been walking down, because the left side is my. Remember, if you're going up the ramp, your right side is east, your left side is west. And you had, when you started circling the mizbeach, you went to your right, you went to the east, you went all around. When you're coming back around, you're now on the west side, and you're coming down the ramp on the western side of the ramp. The ramp was 16 amos wide. You're going down the western side of the ramp. If you was facing someone if someone's walking up the ramp facing the Mizbech, it will be on the left side that you're coming down. That's what I mean. You're going down the left side. Chutz min ha'oile legimel elu, except those who go for these three things. That if you lechatchila had to do a service on top of the mizbech on the southwestern corner, so you went up the ramp on your left side, right there is the southwestern corner. Do you have to walk around the entire mizbech to get there? There, no. You make a special dispensation, you go straight to the left. So chutz min ha'oile legimel, when you go for these three things over here, then you just go left as well. And when you come back, you walk backwards. You walk backwards, so you tiptoe backwards. So the Gemara, first of all, how do you know? How do you know that the chatas oif has to be done on the southwestern corner? It says in the pasuk, when a sinner brings a carbon mincha, we want to be as meager as possible. So do not place any oil. And it's talking here about a mincha v'chayta, which is somebody cannot afford a bird, brings a mincha v'chayta. So it's like a chatas ha'oif. You would have brought a bird chatas, but now you bring a mincha. And yet the Torah calls it a chatas. Litan lavaina ki chatas. See, it is a chatas, and chatas kruya mincha kruya chatas. We're talking about a mincha. Yeah, we call it a chatas. So what do we know? Ma chatas to unat soften, just like chatas requires a north. Af mincha to unat soften. Mincha requires north. Rashi says that this piece of Gemara, this line right here, absolutely has no place anywhere, and Rashi says it's a mistake. Rashi says shibushu, it's a mistake. Why? Because there's no such requirement that the chatas ha'oif has to be slaughtered on the northern side. And if it does, why the Mishnah before, when it said the mincha can be that you can do, and you're saying now the mincha also has to be north. So why does the Mishnah, when it says the mincha can be done anywhere, it should have said except the mincha's chayta? It doesn't say that. The whole piece of here is corrupt. So Rashi wants to say that it should say that just like a korban chatas, if you did it shaloi lishma, the very first mission is Zevachim, if you had the wrong korban in mind, as opposed to Shlomi had the wrong korban, it's still a valid korban, except you were Yaitz. Here is disqualified. The same thing by mincha is disqualified. Nothing to do with north. But anyway, uma mincha, just like a mincha is bekeren ma'arovis dremis, the mincha is on the southwestern corner facing the Zebech. We'll soon see how we know that. Is that chat? So the chat is also in that corner. And how do we know that? We'll see in a minute. Or mincha, how do you know by mincha? The time we learned the pasuk that this is the laws of a mincha. You should bring it lifnei Hashem, before Hashem. Now remember, Hashem is the heichel, so it has to be right in front of the heichel. Then it says pnei mizbech, the face of the mizbech. And we learned yesterday, the face of the mizbech is the side of the ramp, because the yerech mizbech is like the leg, and the opposite side is the head. So that's the ramp. So it says here lifnei Hashem. It says lifnei Hashem, which is what, which is now we have a problem. Lifnei Hashem means that's the west side in front of the base of Mikdash, and then it says in the pasuk it says Pnei Mizbech, which is the south side. Which one is it, west or south? Yachum, I thought west Pnei Mizbech. It has to be in the front of the Mizbech, which is south. If it's in front of the Mizbech, Yachum Don should be south. Lifnei Hashem has to be in the west. Hakeitzad. What do? Is Magisha. You bring it to Keren. Maram is Dremis. You bring it to the south western corner, Keneged Chudash Keren, right there in the corner, so therefore it's sort of facing west and south. The Dayan is good enough. Rabbi Lezer argues, he says, Yochom, so you say, the first opinion says he's just doing that tip in the south, western tip, and therefore you satisfy Lifnei Hashem, and you satisfy Pnei HaMizbech. Rabbi Lezer argues, he says, no, it's done on the western side. How? On the southern side. How do you do that? Yochel, I thought you should do on the west side. There's a kettle or the south side. Which one? Amrit, we have a rule. You have two psukim that seem to contradict each other. One pasuk somehow or another you can reconcile both psukim. The echad, if you follow the other pasuk mekayim atzma, then you only fulfill its obligation. Or it cancels its other pasuk. What do? We ignore the pasuk that cancels out the other pasuk. The toifsin, and what do we follow? The one that somehow or another you can make both work. Let's work it out. When we say Pnei Hashem, when you say Pnei Hashem, which side of the mizbeach we talking about? Myra, facing the base of Mikdash. Heichen kayemes. El Pnei Mizbech. So how are you going to satisfy the other part of the pasuk where it says the face of the Mizbech, which is the south side? No. So say, okay, let's focus on the south side. So you fulfill that. You discharge your responsibility of doing it. What do you call Lifnei Hashem? You fulfilled the obligation of Pnei Mizbech. You didn't satisfy Kiyamto. Or Lifnei Hashem B'Dorim. But how do you fulfill the other part, Lifnei Hashem? So therefore, how do we do that? So he argues. No, he says, choose whichever one you want. It's impossible to do both. Choose whatever you want. Says the Gemara, Rabashi said that Ksover Haitana, this Tana holds, Kulam Mizbeach B'Tzofen Koi. He says that the entire, and we had three opinions before. He says the entire Mizbeach is on the northern side, because the opening of the base of Mikdash is split. 10 amas wide, 5 in the north and 5 in the south. Mizbeach starts from the 5 on the north. So then the ramp is also not only is on the south side of the Mizbeach, but also it's right in front of the 5 amma opening from the Vay Hashem. So you can satisfy both. You can have the Dorim and should be considered Ma'av and Dorim at the same time. So thinking about it further, you can do it anywhere. The Chomok sounds like you do it above the line, below the line. My karma, you just said a minute ago that it has to be done below the line, the karma chatazoif, and then you say you can do whatever you want. It means any section, how can it be? You're mixing up the blood with the malika. The blood has to be done by the chatazoif below the line. But the malika can be done anywhere on the mizbech, whether you do it above the line, below the line, is there because we only learn regarding hazor, the sprinkling of the blood that has to be below the line. But not when it comes to Malika. This was the place for the sprinkling of blood. We learned the Tanah, we learned the Malika b'chol moka b'mizbeach. Malika can be done any way you want, and the mizbeach, he's dama b'chol moka sheda. Now, this next line is a bit perplexing. Here it says that not only the malika can be done anywhere, but also the spraying of the blood can be done anywhere. But we know it's not true. The spraying of the blood of a chatzah has to be done below the red line. We'll see in a minute. He's a mitzvah. If you didn't do the mitzvah, which is pressing the bird against the wall and squeezing out the last droplet, you didn't do that, ksheda. It's only this leftover blood. No leftover blood. It's not a big deal. Well, as long as as long as he did the main spraying below the line. What's going on here? You start off saying you can do it any way you want. Then you tell me you're only below the line. My karma, what's going on here? Says the Gemara, karma. This is what he means. We're going to swap around some of the words. Malika b'chol makom b'mizbech. Sheda. You can do malika any way you want mizbech. Mitzah dama, not hazor's dama. The mitzah, the pressing of blood, also b'chol makom sheda. If you have some blood, it's kosher. It doesn't matter. You know why it doesn't matter? Because if you have no blood, it's still kosher. Shim hiza v'lei mitzah sheda. If you didn't do mitzah, it's kosher. But the spraying of the blood has to be done below the red line, from the blood that the nefesh has, which is where you're supposed to spray the blood, not the tamtis adam, but the dam han nefesh. We'll stop here. We'll continue tomorrow in Mitzvah Hashem.